The strikes were a spectacular military success. Iran's key nuclear enrichment facilities have been completely and totally obliterated.
Israel has done truly amazing things. But in tonight's action against Iran's nuclear facilities, America has done what no other country has.
Hello, my friends, and welcome to this episode of Common Sense. As a matter of fact, this is no more a breaking news, but it's still a news. Trump, as everyone has heard, released their strike against Iran's nuclear installation in an attack they called Operation Midnight Hammer. In the Operation Midnight Hammer, they launched a dual attack or triple attack on Iran's nuclear installations with a bomb they characterized as Massive Ordnance Penetrator. So these, as they indicated, their intention was to target Iran's nuclear installation, because Trump had been saying it for quite a while that Iran must not have a nuclear weapon. But as I said in my previous post, I have to address this issue from two perspectives. One, as a member of the world community, and two, as somebody who supports Trump first tenor and even this time. As somebody who supports Trump, I accept that he kept to his word that Iran must not acquire a nuclear weapon. But as a member of the world community, the idea of striking another country, whether it is for purpose you think that you should, or the one that you say you think you shouldn't but you must, that is not justified. If you have the right to be the king in your own country, every other person have the right to be king in their own country. So I don't think anyone has the right to strike any country. And as a matter of fact, no country gave another the power to be in charge or to be the overlord over every country. Now, that being said, that is my position as a member of the world community. But considering that we live in a society whereby what happens to one affects another, you can understand the fact that a country will be in the assembly where they make laws that affect every citizen and their relationship with the world, shouting death to one country and death to the other country. So when if this is said in isolation, if this is said in the comfort of your bedroom, it might not mean anything. But the fact that you are sitting in the seat of power where whatever decision you make that affects your people is taken, and also the decision that affects you in relation to other countries, international relations, that is the seat where you are making these utterances, death to this country, death to the other country. The fact that you are sitting in a position of power and you are saying this, you must be taken serious. And a consideration of self-defense could be put forward. And I think before it reaches every reasonable doubt, there could be a possibility of proving it. Because every indication shows that whatever Iran has been doing for quite a while is geared towards the destruction of those two countries, including setting up people to go and kill somebody in another country when he was not in any position of power, based on an action he performed when he was in a position of power. And I mean Trump, as a matter of fact. Now, Trump bombing of Iran could be characterized as a one-in-lifetime action by lovers of the country, lovers of U.S. and policymakers of U.S. And Iran, according to them, will consider it as a grave mistake. Whichever one it is, I don't think we know yet what is going to be the outcome. But I don't want to say much before I continue and before I show you what other world leaders have said about this. Let us listen to the address Trump made right after the completion of the event.
Tonight, I can report to the world that the strike were a spectacular military success. Iran's key nuclear enrichment facilities have been completely and totally obliterated. Iran, the bully of the Middle East, must now make peace. If they do not, future attacks will be far greater and a lot easier. For 40 years, Iran has been saying death to America, death to Israel. They have been killing our people, blowing off their arms, blowing off their legs with roadside bombs. That was their specialty. We lost over 1,000 people, and hundreds of thousands throughout the Middle East and around the world have died as a direct result of their hate. In particular, so many were killed by their general, Qasem Soleimani. I decided a long time ago that I would not let this happen. It will not continue. I want to thank and congratulate Prime Minister Bibi Netanyahu. We worked as a team like perhaps no team has ever worked before. And we've gone a long way to erasing this horrible threat to Israel. I want to thank the Israeli military for the wonderful job they've done. And most importantly, I want to congratulate the great American patriots who flew those magnificent machines tonight, and all of the United States military on an operation the likes of which the world has not seen in many, many decades. Hopefully, we will no longer need their services at this capacity. I hope that's so. I also want to congratulate the chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, General Dan Raisin-Kane, spectacular general, and all of the brilliant military minds involved in this attack. With all of that being said, this cannot continue. There will be either peace or there will be tragedy for Iran far greater than we have witnessed over the last 8 days. Remember, there are many targets left. Tonight's was the most difficult of them all, by far, and perhaps the most lethal. But if peace does not come quickly, we will go after those other targets with precision, speed, and skill. Most of them can be taken out in a matter of minutes. There's no military in the world that could have done what we did tonight, not even close. There has never been a military that could do what took place just a little while ago. Tomorrow, General Kane, Secretary of Defense, Pete Hegseth will have a press conference at 8 a.m. at the Pentagon. And I want to just thank everybody, and in particular, God. I want to just say we love you, God, and we love our great military. Protect them. God bless the Middle East. God bless Israel, and God bless America. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Yeah, and that brings me to the tone of this discussion, tone of this address. There's something that is obvious how Trump ended this address. Before I go to some points I put down about the address, the way he ended is not the way he usually ends his discussion. He usually ends in a very vibrant way, in proud of the country. But if you listen carefully, you will see the humility in the way he ended. God, we thank you, and we need your protection for our servicemen. That means he realized that there might be something coming and no one knows the magnitude. And at this point, even though he relied in the strength of the military, he also relied in the providence and protection of God. So that being said, let's look at few points that rose from that address. One, he said about future attack. If Iran does not come for peace, future attack. And when he said future attack, is this a kind of an agreement that he is preparing to have boots on ground in Iran? As a matter of fact, a lot of people in the country have had a very serious opposition to having Americans inside Iran. So if he does this, he will not only lose his base, he will not only lose the entire country, but he will lose the core, his base that have followed him even when he was going through all traverse. So I don't think it would be a good idea. And that is my own input about that. So there's another point that I think we should look into. He said, hopefully, we will no longer need their service in this capacity. That is when he was talking about the people who flew the two B-2 bombers, B-2 steel bombers. The first time two of those were out or similar was in Nagasaki and Hiroshima. Another time they were really on a long distance mission was, I think, during Iraq war. I can't remember if it was used or not. But this is the second time, or the first time this was used in this magnitude, in this form, to destroy a nuclear installation. And if we see some pride in the voice also, no military in the world will be able to do this. And there's some other person who made the same comment. That was Bibi Netanyahu. He said, no military in the world would have been able to do that. If there is any, it's not yet known. And we wouldn't have known that they have the capability, if not them saying it and now be doing it in action. So, but there is also another threat that is carried in his speech, either peace or tragedy. You hear the foreign minister of Iran say, in hinting that there will be a repercussion since US have joined the war. And the US, on the contrary, are saying that they didn't join the war, they have a precise attack. And the intention was not to join the war, but to eliminate the threat of the nuclear installation, that the threat it posed to the entire world. So nobody knows who holds the truth. But the fact that it's very clear in this address is that there might be future attacks if Iran dares to retaliate or to carry out hostile action, either to American installations, Americans abroad, the servicemen abroad, or, of course, they've been fighting with Israel, so that would be a kind of a no-brainer to say that they can, because they're already there. And I think Israel can take care of themselves. But as I said from the beginning, there's no need for all this tit for tat. Bomb me, I bomb you. There's no need for it. And the Secretary of UN made some comment that I will be showing you towards the end of this video. So there are a lot of comments. Comments were flowing from left, right, and center. Stem of Britain, the EU president, the Prime Minister of Germany. So a lot of people joined the world in saying either positively, negatively, or neutrally, or apprehensively about what happened. So the same way, I invite you to say what you think about what is going to happen. Now we know what has happened. The three nuclear installations of Fordow, Isfahan, and Natanz, or whatever it's called. The three of them were destroyed. And especially that of Fordow, that is about 90 meters underground, which was where the B-2 bomber struck twice. According to Rezenken and Hexet, I think part of the press release they had, they cannot assess the magnitude of the damage, but they are sure that it is relatively or very seriously damaged, if not completely obliterated, which was the word I have been using. So if it is the right thing to do or the wrong thing to do, everyone has his or her opinion. I want to see your own opinion. But for me, nobody has the right to strike another country. But just as you have the right to defend yourself in the face of attack or preemptive attack, or you think that you are imminent attack, in the face of imminent attack, I can justify the strike. But apart from that very tiny window of justification, I don't see the reason for the strike, especially considering that there are UN treaties forbidding that. But unfortunately, UN itself has been somehow complicit in a lot of wrongdoing in the recent time. Russia, they're not speaking out vehemently against both sides because people are dying from both sides. Gaza also speaking out for, especially, not vehemently condemning what happened that led to it. Condemn both sides. What happened that led to this fight should be seriously condemned, especially keeping the hostages after it happened. And then condemn Israel for going overboard in the destruction. So there's no way one side starts and finishes a conflict. It's usually two sides that sustain a conflict. So this time around, the condemnation from the UN should also be both sides, because Iran has 60 days after having a very long time to come to the table. They did not make any effort to come to the table. There is also a claim that everyone should be careful taking to be true, considering the fact that the similar claim was made that Iraq had nuclear weapon or biological weapon, which turned out to be false. So even when we take this to be serious, that Iran has a nuclear weapon, or nuclear ready, or nuclear enriched, or nuclear installation that are enriched in the level of creating a nuclear bomb, we still have to be careful believing what they say. Because if you want to kill somebody, you always have a justification to do that. If you can't get any, you create one for yourself. But all that being said, in general, I don't see any reason why any country should have a nuclear weapon, considering the magnitude of the damage it can do. Hopefully, the one that they claim to have destroyed in Iran will not cause more problem to the people of Iran. Hopefully, even if it was destroyed, there will not be too much radiation to continue to do the damage that was done the first time it was dropped. And at this point in time, it's time for everyone to shield your sword. Take the table. If you world leaders cannot sit down on the table and talk, then none of you has the right to make a decision in your own country, because it means that all of you lack that sense of civility to be in charge of anything. And on that note, if you got any value from this, I still want you to lay down your opinion. So at this point in time, I will just play to you what different world leaders have said. Just sit down, relax, watch, and write your own opinion. And let's see you at the other end of it. Thank you very much. And watch out.